Hey, Yo here from Big Five Fitness. I've got a guest with me today on the podcast. It's Janis from Super Movement, which, I'll let Janis actually talk a little bit about what Super Movement is and how it came about.
Okay. Hey guys. Hi Yo.
Hi.
Um, Thanks for having me. So Super Movement is a business, a local community business that encourages people of all ages and fitness levels to move their bodies. We specifically focus on Pilates, kids and teen group fitness, and we've introduced functional strength sessions into our program, which is really there for people who do Pilates who want something a bit more with their strength training. So people who do Pilates can also have the option of doing their functional strength sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, and the functional strength sessions, they're basically semi-private sessions with weights and focusing more on strength. Um,
Exactly.
we call it, or you call it functional strength.
Yeah,
Um,
we call it functional strength because there is a nice mix between the resistance training and um, and Pilates. So there's certainly the sessions, then people are moving all sides of their body. They're rotating, they're bending laterally, they're bending forwards, bending backwards. So we're trying to incorporate those everyday movements that people would do into their training session. And yes, it's a semi-private focus. So people who, some people start off with us because they've had injuries and they've joined our Pilates program and they've got to a point where they're ready to increase their strength training. So, and they like that semi-private setting. They want focus. They want to be taught. They want someone looking at them and encouraging them and teaching them through those sessions, and not to be sort of. They don't want to be lost. They want the specific focus.
yeah. Now with your own Pilates, I don't really like to use, but journey. How did yourself get into Pilates? Because obviously we've known you at Big Five for a number of years. You were previously, the reason I know you is because you trained with my wife at the Step Into Life group outside for years, right? And
Yeah.
then started training with us at Big Five. So how, why, and when did you get into Pilates?
Well, I first was introduced to Pilates. So my daughters, I've got twin daughters who are 13 and a half. And I first got introduced into Pilates after I had my girls because I had some terrible lower back complaints. I went off and had an MRI, see what was going on. Then I got referred as my sort of rehab process before needing any injections. They encouraged me to go through some physio and Pilates rehab. So that's how I was first introduced to Pilates. 13 years ago.
Yeah.
So I practiced it for quite a while because it really did. I noticed a huge change in my strength, in my back strength, and in my core strength. So carrying two babies at the one time just shattered my abdominals. I was left with a 4-finger abdominal separation, and I just basically had no core strength. So that helped me to get into being able to exercise again, because I've always exercised various different things along the way. And then once I sort of got fit and strong and could join the Step Into Life program, I kind of left Pilates to the side because it sort of seemed to me that was what I had to do to rehab myself, and it wasn't something that I would continue with. And then throughout the next, I guess, 5 years when I was doing Step Into Life, I'd get some niggles again because I started running. I'd never ran before, and glute problems and hamstring problems and all that sort of stuff. So I would go back to the physio, and the Pilates place was there. So over the years, I was just sort of in and out of doing some Pilates, and then came to you guys, about 5 or 6 years ago, which was which was awesome. One of the best training decisions that I'd made for myself, as well as physically, mentally, and socially. You know, I've got my posse down there at Big Five Yarraville. And then, about 4 years ago, I'd had enough with my job, which was, you know, a desk job, and started to look at, you know, how I could change careers. And anyway, long story short, I came up with wanting to do something in the fitness industry, and Pilates made sense to me. And then you very kindly enabled me to practice in your space. You know, you gave me access to your gym when you weren't using it, and I had a few friends come down. Most of them were Big Five members, and they would come down and let me practice on them, practice my coaching skills, my instruction skills, as well as getting to know and practice on real bodies. And then for about 6 months after that, you let me teach real people, you know, not just my mates.
Yeah.
And so Big Five offered the Pilates to its members on the Sundays, and I think we might have done another day during the week. So that was a really good chance for me to practice on all sorts of real people with real issues. And then a short time later, we had a chat, we had a beer with Gabe from Altona North, and Super Movement was born.
Yeah, and it's a cool story, because you've obviously done a lot of different things now. In terms of fitness, you got your when you started rehabbing after the twins, and then outdoor training with the Step Into Life crew, where you also got a lot of friends from, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them are now with Big Five, because I don't think that group they're not running outdoor anymore, but
Right.
it's a cool journey. And then you did run a lot. You ran quite a lot I just always saw you running.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. I ran.
you still run?
Do I still run? No, I don't really.
No.
No, I kind of hit 40. Shush, don't tell anyone. No, tell the whole world. I'm happy to be. I'm 42 now. But after I hit about 40, I just started to notice that my body actually didn't really love running. My mind loved running, because I was hanging out with my mates, and it's pretty cool just to be able to not do any running and then get up and be able to run 8Ks. Like, that's pretty cool. That, you know, deep down inside me, I knew I could do that. But once I started getting past that 10K mark, my feet didn't like it, my legs didn't like it, and I really started to like the weight training more. And I knew that I needed to, if I wanted to be able to enjoy running, I had to have more time to run. And I preferred weight training over running. So I would certainly say that.
I remember you saying to me, you saw some bigger changes, right? Because
physical
with the running. Yeah. Starting to gain some muscle mass to actually shape the body, right? Like, to see some changes in that. Because running is good for cardio, but it's not necessarily building much muscle mass.
No, whenever I get the old Facebook memory pop up on my phone, I'm like, man, I was skinny. Like, when I was running, I didn't have any muscle. I was very lean. I've always been lean, but I just was like super lean. And so I really liked what happened to my body aesthetically, as well as what I could feel. I felt so much stronger when I did, when I was doing my weight training. And then I felt even more strong when I was combining Pilates and weight training, because I was not only looking after and developing all my big muscle groups, but Pilates enabled me to to focus and strengthen my smaller muscle groups as well, which now, like, I don't remember the last time I was injured. You know, oh yeah, sometimes I have a little niggle with my hamstring, or, you know, I still get the 40 plus aches and pains every now and again, but I really feel quite balanced from head to toe.
Yeah. I think with, you know, being over 40, both of us, it's a bit, it takes a little bit more to recover, but because of you practicing Pilates, you sort of get recovery in your workout. Like a lot of it is recovery work, right? That's how I look at it. And you're strengthening a lot of the weak sides for people who have lived a few years. We get deterioration on our spine, and, you know, but a lot of it is glutes get weak from years of not really using them. And glute strength, obviously, a big thing with Pilates, which is also with what we would do, but you sort of specify a little bit more, specialize in that area. And I think that building strong glutes, more people should focus on it. And I admit that I didn't train glutes at all, like specifically. Obviously, I squat and deadlift and that sort of stuff, but there was no specific strength training for my glutes because I thought it was girly to want to build a butt, right? but now I realize how important it is, because if you go weak glutes, then you're obviously everything else takes the load.
That's
even
right.
when you're walking. So
Yeah.
so this, you talked about how lean you were. Now, have you always been lean?
Yeah, I've always been lean.
You've always been pretty lean, but do you feel like that's just?
Oh, actually, I would say skinny. Like, for the first half of my life, I was just skinny.
Yeah.
You know, if anyone's seen my daughters, like, you just look at them, they're a bag of bones, skin, bag of bones. That's exactly how I was until I hit my mid-teens, you know, where I started to fill out a little bit, but I was still skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people have different body shapes, right? And some people are built, well, everyone's built differently, but do you feel like it's just genetics, or is it lifestyle as well?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because I've never had a weight issue. I do feel a little bit as I'm getting older that if I wasn't as active as what I am now, and if I didn't eat as well as I do, yeah, most likely I'd have a podge, you know, and I'd probably be bigger than what I am now. I would say, I don't know, I hate to put percentages to it, but definitely there's a genetic factor to it. But also, I eat well and I move all the time. So yeah, it's a combination.
You eat well. You always eat pretty well, apart from when we go for burger and beers.
I was going to say, but you know that I don't not have stuff, right? Like, I have a burger, I have chips, I have ice cream. I still eat those foods as well.
But you can enjoy that because majority of the time you do choose the healthy option. And when we say healthy, like you choose a lower calorie option or whatever, but you're also very active, very active. Even when you're teaching, you know, you walk around, etc. So you're not really sitting down, maybe a little bit more now when we're all at home. But I think a lot of people will, people might look at you and goes like, oh, well, it's easy for Janis because she's built that way, but you're also working for it. I believe if I wrote you a diet program to make you gain weight, I could make you gain weight, despite your genetics.
Yes.
I believe that there's a big genetic thing. Some people have it, it's easier for some people, but it's also choices, right? Which I think is really important to point out, because there's a reason you stay that way is you don't overeat and you move a lot. Like it's
It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple formula.
There is a pretty simple formula, and it doesn't mean that no one's ever going to, even if they ate like you, they're not going to look like you, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to look exactly the same as someone else. So this is an important point. I always try to say, don't compare yourself to someone else, right? Because if you have, people follow people on Instagram, it's like, I want to look like that.
You're never going to look like that. Like,
No.
doesn't matter. Even if you get the same body fat percentage as someone else, doesn't mean you're going to look exactly like them. So you have that. You have a tall.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, I'm tall as well, right? So I probably my weight distribution.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's No, that's right. But you work for it, and that's my point, right? I think. Look, I think we want to get to know you a little bit more and talk a little bit more. I know you have a class to go to, so we're gonna cut it there for today. We'll do a little short one, and then we'll touch base with you a little bit again next week, possibly.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. It's been fun.
At least we know a little bit more about you. Super movement, Pilates, functional strength, kids and teen fitness, and we'll chat to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Yo.
Thank you.